Hi, this is Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to my studio. And today we're going to do a little watercolor demonstration, but some other things going on too. I'm broadcasting live from my studio to LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, later on to Instagram. And I'm in the studio today with my wife, Gloria,
Hi, everybody.
and
Also Twitch.
Twitch. I forgot that one, excuse me. There's 4 or 5 channels out there I'm broadcasting to live. But I have a chat room live now. Gloria will be monitoring the broadcast and also the chat room. And if you have a comment or question during the broadcast, put them down on the chat room and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And even after the broadcast, if you see this video, then you can put a comment in the response on the comment section below the video. And if this is your first time for checking out the broadcast, then I appreciate that. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and then you'll be notified of the next live video. Today I'm going to share with you a new adventure I've been started. Actually, what I do, I've been there for a long time. I've been exercising my whole life, but I started recently, last couple of months, as I go out for a walk about 3 or 4 times a week. And about 2 months ago, I said, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to take my sketchbook with me. Because I see a lot of things out there in my walks. And wow, I wish I had caught that while I was out here. So I take my camera with me all the time for, just for contact points of view. But also I take my sketchbook. And there's some interesting things when we come along. I'd be surprised. So I started a sketchbook, and Gloria introduced me to a new concept called the Composition Notebook Journal. And she introduced me to that, and I looked at that, and then, these journals can be made for inspiration, for your special interests, also any kind of subject matter you're interested in. It's a good way of documenting things that you like, things you like to read. Maybe you want to make some writings about it, or take quotes, or take snapshots or so forth. So it's a little bit more than a photo journal. It can be an inspirational journal.
They also call them altar journals and junk journals.
Yes, well, Gloria, altar journal. Yeah, there's several names out there, but you can go on the internet and you can find other topics about what these journals are used for.
And
but
yours is a walk and sketch.
But I'm going to use mine to follow my art travels, and I've called mine my Walk and Sketch Journal. And I'm going to share that with you today. I'm going to take you on a sample tour of how I go about it and how I create input to my my walk and sketch journal. First of all, I find something that's new. I go out every time I go out, something's always changing. The light's changing, the weather's changing. Something's happened on the trail that I walk on, or on the route that I choose, and I always if I find something, first thing I do is take a photograph. That way I've got a reference. And then I have my sketchbook with me. I'll do an on-site sketch. I'll get down the main elements. I'll get down what I think is the most important thing to capture at that point. And then I bring it back to the studio. And with the photo and with my sketch, then I may add to that sketch and also put a little bit of color on it for my watercolors. So it gives me a good reference for what I did that day and what I found out. And I found it to be very valuable. So I'm going to show you, let's go over to my overhead camera. I'm going to show you one of my projects I found. So on one of my trips here, I found this photograph. I found this location here on my walk. And it was early in the morning, about 8 o'clock in the morning. I saw the shadow pattern coming across this old building. And wow, I said, that'd be an interesting subject to paint and also to draw. And so I said, okay, and I'll take what I did. I took a picture, and this is what it is. It's the picture I took. And then I did an on-site sketch in my sketchbook. And this is a sketchbook that I carry. Okay, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a moment. And then I take it back to my studio, and then I add, as I say, add more detail to it from the photograph, or I'll put some watercolors on it and so forth. So I want to take you. What I'm going to do is I've got a small film. I got a small film that I did on this. I actually photographed. What I did was I took this photograph of this site here. I made a sketch. I came back to the studio. Now what I did, as I was painting on it, I turned the recorder on. I recorded everything that I did to the sketch as far as watercolor is concerned. And I thought about editing. I thought about making some changes. And you know what? I wanted you to see the exactual things that I thought and what I saw and how I felt about it as I did the changes. So you're going to hear my original thoughts. I didn't make any changes. I didn't edit anything. I just recorded what I did. So let me take you to my demo film, and you're going to see my cast shadow on a building. Okay, I was out taking my walk this morning, which I normally do on Wednesdays, and found this very interesting little shadow pattern on this building over here. So I did a quick sketch, which I showed you here. I did one. I do a live. I did an on-site short video in the beginning there, but here I brought it back here to my studio, and I put a little bit of blue for the siding here, a little bit of light bluish gray. I just put that in with a quill paintbrush. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint in the rest. Now, the whites are whites. Leave those alone. But I'm going to put in the shadow pattern. So I'm going to mix a little bit of gray. So use a little bit of ultramarine blue. Mixing up a little bit of ultramarine blue. A little bit of burnt sienna. That'll give me a nice gray. I'm going to need a lot of that, so I'll mix it up a little bit over here. So I'm going to do the shadow pattern, which I thought was really interesting this morning when I saw that. I was out there looking for subject matter. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and put the shadow pattern in. The sun was coming nice and bright this morning. This is about 8 o'clock here in the morning. And I just found this very interesting little shadow pattern from the sun hitting this building, this little balcony, and hitting the shadow against the side of the wall here. And I just thought it was a very interesting little shape. So, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to share with you my plein air, my plein air sketches when I go out on my walks. So a little short. I take a little short, maybe take 10 minutes to do a quick sketch. Then bring it back here to my studio, and I'll go ahead and document the colors and so forth. And this is what I'm doing right now, documenting the color, the shadow pattern, and let's see. Now, what really was this interesting here was the shape of the shadow here on the wall. The railing. I got it wet now on this wet paper. This is sketch paper, so this is not watercolor paper, so it's not going to be as clean as I'd like it. But I'm just doing a fast sketch here, and I come on down, and this shadow. Now, I'm gonna leave this window white here for right now. Leave that little window white. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and sketch in the windows. The paint in the windows. Okay, it goes a little bit of Payne's gray. Give me a nice darker color for the windows. They're closed and shadow. So here now that's dry. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the windows in here. There's a doorway up here. Up here at the top, it leads. It looks like windows though out to this little balcony. It's kind of a fake balcony. It's not really a. It's kind of like a store. I don't know. This is really a storage building of some kind, and this is just kind of like a decoration on the outside. So I'm just going to go indicate here these were windows at the top of this little balcony scene. Bring that on down. And those windows continued on down here below the bottom here. So I'll continue that. There we go. And get this on. Again, you know, it's a thing I like about painting and also, you know, especially in watercolor or whatever, is to get the colors. And then I'm just getting an indication here, a little impression, not necessarily accuracy, just getting a nice little sketch of what I saw and what I saw, what really interests me at this time. And there's a window down here. There's a two-story building. It has a first floor here and a top floor. And I'm putting in this window here below this little balcony. So this is just going to be this is really just a sketch. That's all it is. When I'm documenting I'm documenting the information. That's what a sketch does. When I go out and take my walks, I take my sketchbook with me, and if I see something that really interests me, it could be a shape, it could be a shadows, it could be a color, whatever it is, then I get a photograph. A quick snapshot, but then I also want to do a quick sketch of what I saw and document that experience, or document that item that I saw. Then I can bring it back and now there's a window up here in the top. I'm going to put that in. Again, I'm going to just really not put a lot of detail here, just put enough of the information to define this scene. I have a photograph which gives a lot more information than I need. I don't need all that information. I would just want to capture the shape, and I want to capture that shadow pattern, which I thought was a very interesting shape coming off the shape there. And down here, this is a dark window inside of a shadow. So I'm going to do the window first, and I'll paint the shadow over top of it. So because the window color value was a little bit darker than the shadow, which will show up here. You'll still be able to see the window shape through the shadow, and that's what I want to have. Yeah, you know. And also, this is the experimentation on the. It gives me a practice to. This needs to be a little bit darker up here. This was too light. So I'll go back and put another layer of color on top of that. A little more of that Payne's gray. Put another layer, darken it up for that window. Okay, let's see. Now, I haven't figured out yet what I'm going to do about the railings. I'm going to let this stop for a second. Then I'll go back and the only details I see is there's a little shutters here. I might put a little bit of information on that, just a little hint. And then these these railings here I need to work on. So I'm going to stop it right there and let this dry. Then I'll come back and finish it up. Okay, now for details, I've decided to use a 2B graphite pencil, 2B. And what I'm going to do here is just go in and just darken up some of the marks, just to give a little definition. This is the edge of the doorway up here at the top, and it was the railing across this balcony again, just to give it a little more definition. But I think that the graphite pencil is enough to give it that dimension. And rather than using a paintbrush, would be harder to do. But just getting a little shadow, there's like a shadow on the edge of these railings. Enough to indicate what this is, the edge of the door. And I'm even going to do these small railings. I'm just going to do a couple lines down here just to get an idea of a railing. The little bottom of this balcony. Now I'll leave that. I'm going to leave those railings till end. I'm going to get in some of these windows down here. Again, I'm just adding a little more graphite, just using a graphite pencil to define some of the edges here. Yeah, show a little, maybe a little shadow maybe, just little marks. Just enough to indicate that. Makes it more believable. Now there's a window over here also. I think this will help this one. I'll get the edge of the window. And there's a little shutter here on the side. And there's a shutter on the other side. I gotta put in some. I forgot the shadow. I missed the shadow on that one there, so I have to put that one in. Okay, and this window up the top again. Add a little definition up here. Across to the shutter. Little shutter in the window. So just a little graphite pencil mark would separate the shape a little bit. And let's see what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make some of these railings. I'm just going to go ahead and put in some marks. Just straight lines, which will indicate these balcony. The railing on this balcony up here. I'm just putting it in. Just making some pencil lines just to break up the shape a little bit, indicate that there was there's shadows on these railings, and I think the pencil mark does a good enough job to do that. And what I can do here is bring down some of these. Don't want to get too much detail. I just want to show just enough. I mean, it's just documentation. Just documenting the shapes, collecting data. What I saw, I just really, the shadow pattern is what caught my attention, and that's what I was trying to capture. These little details are just extra. That's okay. Okay, I was out taking my walk this morning. Okay. And also, I'm going to take the bigger brush now. One more shadow I got to capture to make a little more of that Payne's gray. The Payne's gray, maybe a little bit of ultramarine blue with that Payne's gray, just a little bit. There's a shadow across the top here, underneath this eave. It goes right across the doorway here, over the top of this balcony. This is a shadow across the top. Okay, I think I got all the shadows now. That's what I was really interested in. Across the top of the window. There's a little shadow also on the side over here. On that side. Okay. Okay. So that's my documentation. It's still a little bit wet, but that's my documentation of my sketch. This is the shadows on the building that I got this morning, and I think it turned out real good. A little cleanup with a small brush. Okay, well, you see the reference photograph there already. That's what I was looking at, and that's the painting that I did this morning on my walk, and I captured the shadow pattern across that building. Okay, I'm back at studio. What I want to do now is I'm going to take you through my journal that I just did there. What I'll do is I'm going to show you a little walkthrough, a couple of things I did, and some little extra things I did beyond that. So let me take you back to my overhead camera. And so from the photograph and from the sketch, this is the journal. This is a little sketchbook I took. It's a little 5x7, and you can see here it's a very small, it's a small journal, but I can do a lot with it. Now this is the actual sketch here I did here in the studio, which you just saw in the video, and I added a little bit of here on the groundwork here on the bottom here, but that's exactly what I did in the studio itself. So you saw that on the video. Okay, and then once I get it done, I take a photograph of the sketchbook, and then what I'll do is I'll take it to my journal and I'll post it over here. Now I'm going to show you how I do this, but over here on this journal I also put watercolor on some of the pages, and then I go over here and I post the photograph of the actual photograph of the scene, and then I take a photograph of the actual drawing I did, and lots of notes over here of how I did it and so forth. A lot of good information for me to look at. So let me take you back over here, and let me show you some other technical things I do. The composition notebook, of course, everybody, I had one of these when I was back in high school, grade school. This is the composition book, college rules, and you can see the plain pages and so forth. What I do, though, is taking this book, which is what Gloria introduced me to, is put a cover on it of some kind, and then when I open it up, the pages, because I'm going to use mine with watercolor, and some of the journals I've seen done, and Gloria also briefed me on this, that what they do is they paste the pages together. So you take 2 pages of the journal to start out with, and then you glue them together. Now what I've been using is my standard Elmer's glue, which is the washable standards glue, which is purple, and then you put it on there and you put the paper together. Now also you want to use something like a piece of wax paper or something where the glue doesn't stick to it too well. Piece of wax paper behind and the two sheets that you're going to glue together. And this is the side I'm going to write on. And then what you do is you take the glue and you spread it along the edges, all four sides, and then down the middle, especially the corners. Then you bring the tape over and you spread it out real nice with your hands. Real nice, and let it dry. Let it dry. What I do is I put mine together like this. I'll put a little weight on it to keep it dry for at least 30 minutes. Even longer, even overnight if you want to. Okay, so let me take you through a couple of my examples here. Now my travel pad is very, so let me go with my travel pad. It's very simple. I have a sketchbook, small sketchbook. I also have a drawing pencil, which is a mechanical pencil. And I have a nice little folder here. It goes in the back. This is very compact. I carry this. And I have a little carrying pouch that I have. It's a little pouch with a little shoulder strap. And that goes inside the pouch. And I can put that on my shoulder as I'm walking. And I can even jog with it. It doesn't slow me down at all. Okay, so that's my sketchbook kit. I even have a little set of watercolor pencils. And they have my small travel palette that I have here from my travel set. And I have a couple water brushes that I have, a couple water pens. So I could even, if I wanted to, if I have a place to sit. Typically when I'm drawing, this particular case here, there wasn't a place to sit down. So I had to stand as I was sketching. And I usually plan on about 10 minutes to do a sketch. It allows me enough time to get the primary shapes and so forth, and then the photograph helps me add on any details I may have missed. So, and if I have a place I can sit down, a bench or something like that, then I can sit down and add some color to it if I want to, or spend some more time. And I do that on some of my plein air sketches. When I have a place to sit down, I'll take more time to do it.
And they're on your YouTube channel, Walk and Sketch.
Yeah, I have a walk and sketch. I show with some shorties on my walk and sketch on the YouTube channel, and even some of my plein air sketches. They'll be on the short Everett Watercolors on YouTube, and you'll see some of my short videos on there. Now, some of my examples. Let me show you. I want to go back and show you this one again. I'm very proud of this one. A little history. I started my journal. I started my sketches on, let's see, it was about the 20th or 16th of June, a little over 2 months ago. And I started sketching. You can see here, these are the first 6 sketches I did in my sketchbook. And I put them in here as a reference. And I think you'll see, let me show you a couple of things I did here. That's the very first sketch I did on one of my walks. And I stopped by to what I saw here was a beautiful light path coming through the fence line. I saw an interesting background, and the colors were just wonderful. And the foreground was this old fence. So that was my first sketch I did with my little travel sketchbook. And then I brought it back to the studio and I put the colors in. I had a photograph and I had my sketch, so I could go ahead and paint it up as much as I wanted to. Then I did another sketch the following walking I did. And here's another one. I did another sketch. I like to use this kind of book where I can use both pages to get a bigger scene. So my first six sketches were all done just in the sketchbook. Here's another one here where I caught the light and so forth, and some trees in the foreground. And this was an interesting one. It's just a great little colorful one here with a nice red building with a nice sign up here and a little bench in front. So here I was able to sit down at this bench or bench behind this and able to do a little bit of painting at the same time as I sketched this one out. So I had a little more time. Okay, then after this is when I went into the actual sketch and travel, or sketch, a walk and sketch journal operation. But I documented those 6 here in my journal to show that I started with the walk journal here, my walk sketching here. So I got those documented here. I took photographs of those first 6 sketches I did in my book, and I made lots of notes about where I was and what I was taking, why I was taking it, and so forth. And I gave each one of my sketches a title, which is also. And as I go through the book, I can remember. And there's one here that I just did here the demonstration here. I'll show you the video that I did on this one. And what I can do with my book, I can use my watercolor on one side. I can color the whole page with watercolor like that, and I can write over it with permanent ink. If you're going to use watercolor on your sketch or on your logbook, you want to make sure you have waterproof ink. Or do your watercolor first and then do your drawing or paint, or do your ink pen over top of that after it's dry. And then over here, as I said, and I also have marked the page number here, because in the back of this one here, this one's already filled in. I put a table of contents together. Right here, I put a little table of contents in the back. And right now I've got 48 sketches in here that I've done in this particular sketch journal. Now I put a nice little picture on the front of the cover, something there, and I also put an interesting design on the back. I'll put an interesting design on the inside cover. So you can do almost anything you want as far as putting your things in your journal. I like photographs of nature, trees and so forth like that. You can also put stickers in there of something like that. This one here, I like this one here. It says, "Each day is a blank canvas. Go and make your mark." Good advice. Each day is a blank canvas. Go and make your mark. Beautiful. That's my go-to motto. Okay, now this one here is called Walk and Sketch Journal, and number 1. That's what I've titled it. Okay. I also do some live painting. My live paintings are on YouTube, Everett Watercolors, which everybody should know by now. You go to YouTube and just type in Everett Watercolors, and you'll find all my live videos. I've got over 600 videos on there on different subjects. Again, going through the sketchbook here, you can see a lot of samples of landscapes, a lot of trees. You can see now here's a tree I did. In fact, I did a short video on this one, and it's on YouTube. But I also picked up some leaves from the tree and I covered those with see-through tape. Okay, so I got a documentation of actually the trees and the actual leaves that I picked up from the tree. Again, a good reference material. Good reference material. I like to draw leaves also. That's another good reason. But again, a photograph of the tree, and here's the actual sketch of the tree here in my sketchbook. You can see here I use a lot of watercolor. The watercolor I use, what I do is I do a sketch and put watercolor on it. I document what colors I'm using. And that's what this is all about. I put watercolor over here, and it reminds me of, okay, those are the colors I used in the sketch. And if I'm going to do a painting down the road of the same subject, I can use those colors, or I can modify them, or it gives me a starting point. It gives me a starting point in planning. Okay, this one here, this particular one here, I videotaped the whole Plein Air. I did the whole Plein Air video of this one. That's going to be in the future. I'm going to do this on video on YouTube. So I've got a videotape already in the can for this one here. Let's see. There's one here. This one here. Oh, now I have found also in my travels, in my walks, I have fallen in love with signs of development areas and so forth like that. And I have found all kinds of different ways of printing different signs. This happens to be the original photograph up here. Now down here is my copy I did by doing a sketch. Now I did a pencil sketch first. Then I came back to the studio and I used the dip pen. I used the dip pen to actually do the words. Okay, so that gave me another good example of something else to do. So I'm fascinated with different signs, and the lettering is different, the fonts are different, and so forth. So I found that to be one of my things I've enjoyed doing, is picking up different signs. There's neighborhood situations here. I took pictures of that and did some sketches. This was a plein air sketch. I was on just down the about 3.5 miles from here. I did a plein air sketch of this particular one here. This was a charging station for cars. I did a shorty on this one, so I did a shorty of the sketch. So I'll just go through this a little bit. I was going to just show you some of the main things. Look at the variety of things I do. As I go along, I find something new. Now this one here was I hadn't seen this camper parked behind the fence line, so it made me a good opportunity to try something new, get another picture, another attitude, another position, and so forth. Now here's one of my favorite trees. I did a video on this one. I've actually done a live broadcast on this one here on the plein air sketch. I did this with my field sketchbook. Here again, I'm looking at color of the trees and color of the ground, the foliage. So I got some indications here of the colors I would use possibly in a painting. Some construction. Here's a lot here that had been abandoned, and they tore down the building and so forth. So I got a picture of the actual undergoing construction here of this. They're going to make a parking lot out of this particular area. I found that out later, but I was able to document the tractor in action as it was tearing down some of the building material, moving some of the building material. Okay, here's another tree I did, and also captured some of the leaves. I picked as an old maple tree, and I did this one here. I did this with a new brush. I did this with a silver brush, Dagger Brush. I painted this tree with just one brush, the Dagger Brush, and I took the photo of that and made an entry, a post in my walk-in sketchbook. This is actually a plein air, and then I took the actual leaves from the tree, and I put them in my journal right here of the tree. Now this one here, this is a story here. This was another plein air sketch I did at the Arboretum. And here's the photograph of the actual pathway I took. It was a pathway in the Arboretum. And I sat down at a little bench and I did the sketch. And I brought the sketch back and I did a sketch from my sketchbook. And then I took a photograph of it. Well, the printer was running out of ink. And look at the picture I got. This is a picture of the actual drawing I did, or actual sketch I did. But I like the results of this particular printout because it was all multicolored. The printer was running out of ink, but it gave me a nice viewpoint of a way. That may be another impressionistic painting of the Payne I see here. These colors are unreal compared to the real picture up here. But that's what abstract is. That's what impressionism is. All kinds of ideas and inspiration from doing things like this. There's another sign I got off of one of the developments. Another sign. You can see I'm fascinated over drawing with the dip pen. Now here's an interesting one here. I caught this one in early in the morning. The sun coming through the trees here, and a nice path of light. And that's what this is called. They call this a path of light. Path of light and shadow on the fence. So I drew this up. I did a quick sketch. I didn't have time to, there was no place to sit, so I did a quick sketch. And I brought it back to the studio, and I did a small painting out of it with on top of the sketch. And this is what I took a picture of. Okay, and you can see I took some of the colors that I used in the painting and so forth. Okay. Now here's an interesting one here. I did a live show on this painting here. I did a demonstration of painting flowers in a cup, and I drew it out on a piece of watercolor paper, and I did a small practice painting here. And what I did here was I liked this so much that it was a small area just for demonstrations or for myself, that I actually posted this in my walk and sketch journal. This is really actually a still life demonstration, but I put this in my journal again. And it is a demonstration of what I can do as far as putting it in my journal. There's another sign I liked. Again, different fonts, different lettering. Good opportunity for my dip pen. This was fascinating. This was just a simple water hose with a spigot. But look at those colors. Look at those colors. And I did a quick sketch here on location, and I came back and did a little bit of coloring on the actual sketch. I changed the coloring a little bit because I wanted this to be the more impressive area, the post and the actual hose itself. And these are some of the colors I used in my actual painting. Again, something new, something different, and something interesting. Interesting shape. Okay, this was one I did also. I did a live show on this one here. And this is that building they're doing restructuring. There's some more lettering that I like. Lettering, dip pen. Okay, so that kind of takes you through my journal, and already I have started out with a walk and sketch journal number 2. So I've got 48 sketches over here. I've already got some of them already started in here. You can see I've already got one. I've already got them started in this journal here.
And this time you'll be able to put your table of contents on the front of it.
Yes, yes. What I plan on doing this one, I got the table. I got an empty table of contents, but I'm going to put that in the front. I'm going to put that in the front of the book so that that's the first thing you see. And then again, I put a cover on it, a different cover, and I'm going to put a cover on the back. I haven't done that yet. You know, those are works in progress. But I've got some. I put a little sheet in here to give me a little color here on this opening pages as I start my journal. Okay, but I date these things, and also, as I say, I'm going to number the pages so I can keep track of where I am. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have questions or comments, put them in the comments in the video below. Let's see if I've answered all the questions. I showed you my journal. I showed you how I put one together using the. You need a sketchbook and pencil. That's all you need. And then in order to log it in, we're using the composition notebook with empty pages, and you can dress it up any way you like. You can put a different cover on it, and then I prepare the pages by gluing 2 pages together so I can use watercolor, or so I can use permanent ink so it doesn't go through. These are pretty light pages, so you really need to have another layer on top. So what Gloria showed me, and I think it's a good idea, and I showed you several examples, is you glue the pages together, and then you can put watercolor on it on both sides, and it won't go through.
I want to add one thing that I was taught was the composition notebook that you buy. It needs to have a sewn seam in the middle. Otherwise, your pages could come out. So you always want to check the middle for a sewn seam. That's
good advice. On the composition notebook, they make by different companies and so forth, but they're still out there. You see lots of them, different colors too. Black and white is a traditional one, but you can find them a different color. It doesn't matter. But there's a seam down the middle. There's a sewn-in stitched seam, and that's what you want to look for. That means it's not going to fall out. Not going to fall out on you. Okay? Then you're in good shape. Okay. This is a brand new one. I haven't got into this. This Gloria I borrowed this from Gloria. I may have to give it back. I'll see.
And the good thing is to take advantage of sales because we were able to purchase these for 50 cents a piece.
Yeah, you can go online and do a search for composition books, and you might find a sale. Fortunately, we found one that was reasonable.
Before school, that's
Before
the time
school
to
starts,
do it.
yeah. Okay. Well, let me take me over to my my main camera. Okay. Well, today was kind of exciting. I wanted to share with you my walk and sketch journal. It's been a very positive experience for me, and I found it to be a very worthwhile activity. If you've got a hobby, or you got some likes, if you like to collect things and so forth, this is a good way to document it. And I think documentation is really important. I mean, as an artist, I could have started this many years ago as I was doing my paintings, and as I was doing my classes, and I was doing the demonstrations. I have notebooks. I have many notebooks, loose leaf notebooks all over the place, and I have tons of sketchbooks. But I don't have a journal that has everything put together. I have a piece here and a piece there. A journal like I just showed you today, I'm able to put it all together in one place. I still have my reference photograph. I still have my sketchbook as references, but now I have a place to go where I can find everything I needed to know about that. I can always go back to my sketch journal or to my reference material to go back and get more information. It has been very inspirational. I think I've started out thinking I didn't know what this was all about. I had to learn from scratch, but I have enough experience now. I know it really works. It has really helped me. It gives you number one. I think the most important thing I've learned is it gives you a permanent record of what lessons you've learned, and that's sometimes that's hard to do. I know when we all went to school, we wrote notes so we could take the test and pass the test down the road. And sometimes we lost those notes and never remembered what they were. If you have a good memory, you can remember some things. But the best thing to do is to write it down and to document what you learned. And I think this is one way to have a permanent record, is by putting it into some kind of a journal or log where you can keep track of it.
And enjoy it while you're doing
Yes,
it.
and I've really enjoyed mine. Now, I'm going to be on later on. I'll be on next week at 2 p.m. with with Everett's Watercolors, and I'll be doing a painting next week, and I'll be going out this weekend to do some studies and so forth, and do some more sketching. That's what I do. And then tonight I'll be on 7:30 p.m. with Simply Drawing with Everett, and I think you'll like it. I've got an interesting subject matter there to do. I did a couple of studies on that, and I can't wait to show you that also. So Simply Drawing with Everett tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And over the weekend, on Sunday, I put out a little video called Anyone Can Draw with One Line Only. And that's become very popular. You might enjoy that. And I have a lot of shorts coming out there. During the weekend, I do a sketch, and I'll put a short on the YouTube short videos. And you might enjoy seeing those. So if you're subscribed to my channel, you'll be notified of all the videos that I put out. So I'll see you on the next live video or my next shorty. So give me a thumbs up and give me a subscribe. I appreciate that. So until next week, bye for now.